shard, John said. We can't just toss it out into the void without risking the world falling apart again.
But isn't the void full of mana? Ellie asked.
John shrugged. It is, but apparently it's too chaotic for the device to process.
Where would we find stable mana that isn't already a world?
A great question, and one I unfortunately don't have the answer to. It sounds like we may have to head back to Candle Scholar Tower to do some research.
How long can the world be maintained like that? Ellie asked, pointing to the orb.
Indefinitely, John replied. And while the space around it is sealed to prevent anybody from entering, it seems like we can still pull people out. If we want to be able to get back to the valley, we're going to have to find a place to anchor the world, while ensuring it's getting enough mana.
And your mana can't power it?
Hesitating for a moment, John shook his head. Maybe if that's all I was doing, John said. Extending his hand out away from his body, he allowed the blue flame covering his finger to withdraw, revealing himself to the fierce, chaotic forces that surrounded them. Almost immediately, his finger began to disintegrate, the skin peeling away in an instant to reveal blue flame underneath. With a thought, John began to absorb the chaotic energy devouring the void itself, causing intense power to race through him. After a moment, he sighed and withdrew his hand, his skin rapidly repairing itself as flames covered him. I could absorb enough mana from the void to stabilize the world after I anchor it, but that's all I would be able to do, and that would completely defeat the purpose of anchoring it in the first place. Noticing the curious look in Ellie's eyes, John felt his heart thump as nervousness washed over him. He could tell that Ellie was holding herself back. In fact, he had known she had been ever since he pulled her from the valley to join him in the void. John had revealed parts of himself to his wife, and over the years she had come to know him better, growing in her understanding of his power. Figuring now was as good a time as any to have the conversation, John scooted back, giving Ellie the space to turn around, which she did, sitting cross-legged on Ferdie's broad back, facing her husband. Ferdie seemed to sense that a serious conversation was about to take place because his steps smoothed out, and he slowed down slightly, his ears angling back to listen in.
"If you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to talk about it," Ellie blurted out, causing John to sigh and shake his head.
"No, we should talk about it," he said. "It's important that you understand what you're getting into."
"Have gotten into," Ellie corrected. "I've already gotten into it."
Surprisingly, that made John feel a bit better, and he nodded. "That's true. So what would you like to know?"
"Mostly how you ended up like this, as this seems a bit beyond elementalization."
"It is," John replied. "The process your body is undergoing, where it's transforming into a composition of lightning mana, is how I started. My body slowly transforming into flame itself. And the truth of the matter is that I don't actually know exactly how I ended up like this, but it has something to do with Ferutef." Ellie hissed when she heard the name of the evil dragon who had tried to dominate John's soul.
"So is this a dragon thing?"
Again, John shrugged. "No idea, but I don't think so. I think it's beyond that. When we were doing the image training to try to determine how our bodies would evolve, Ferutef tried to corrupt me, tried to turn my mental image of myself into a sort of draconic hybrid that he could take over. Instead, I managed to build a perfect human body, one completely free of any draconic influence. The reality is that this human body is more of a shell than anything else. It's sort of like a skin that I can put on." Pausing for a moment, John grimaced. "That sounds a lot more creepy than I was hoping it would." To his surprise, Ellie laughed.
"Oh, John, we're on the back of a giant bull running through the void, and you're talking to a woman whose entire body can transform into lightning and who has a one-eyed storm rooster for a pet. I think we're well past the stage of weirdness."
"All right, that's fair," John said. "It's nice to know this isn't going to weird you out."
"At this point, I doubt anything could," Ellie said.
"You asked about how this happened, and all I can tell you is that it was sometime..."